Here we go, here we go. What's going on, everybody? And welcome to the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. I am your host, Sergio Vicente, and check it out. I know you guys see me moving around doing some different stuff today, man, but for those who are actually watching live on IG, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. So you guys actually see me. I'm actually recording live. I got two cameras in front of me right now. So we're recording live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, as well as Instagram now, man. So that's how we're going to go ahead and get it done. I'll be doing this specifically when it's, these solo episodes, a little bit of morning coffee and combat. You know how I'm saying? A little morning coffee and fight news. We're getting it cracking, man. So welcome to the show. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Let me go ahead and get this little sip on so we get this day started. All right. I hope you guys are having a good one, man. It's almost Thanksgiving. Bro. We out here. And everybody's getting ready. I know it's going to be a little different this year. A lot of us are going to be sitting at home, chilling. I know, like I said, I know most of you guys know I'm from Chicago, and I live out here in LA now. I was planning to go back home for the holidays, man. I was planning to go and see. First time I'm seeing people since, the beginning of COVID and shit, man. But it didn't work out like that for me, man. So my lady and I decided to stay at the crib. So we're here, we're hanging out. If you guys are actually watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch right now, you guys can actually see, like I said, behind me, I got the little tree and stuff. We're starting to get a little festive. It's my first holiday season, not being in the cold of Chicago, and I'm not gonna stunt. It's one of those things that I don't know. I'm not quite used to it yet. All right, and I'll say I'm not used to it yet, man, because getting up in the morning, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. You have the music and shit going on, and then you turn around, and the funny thing, you look outside, you got fucking palm trees. People still wearing shorts. I don't even know where my jacket is. I went to the store yesterday. With my slides on, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things that a lot of us sit back. I'm taking it. It just doesn't feel like the holidays, man. Especially because I'm not gonna be with family. But I digress, man. I hope you guys have still being safe. All the protocols and shit we got out here. But at the end of the day, man, I hope you guys have a really, really happy holiday and Thanksgiving, and really have an opportunity to go ahead and kick it with people, man, that you love and enjoy for the holidays. So everybody who's watching us live right now on IG, man, appreciate you guys for joining us today on the show, on the greatest combat sports and culture on the entire universe. Everyone joining us live right now, also on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, man, I appreciate you guys. This is your host, Sergio Vicente, of the greatest combat sports and culture show on the entire universe, the Fight Podcast, and this is episode 246, Morning Coffee and Fight News. And on today's menu, like I said, we talked a little bit. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of it. On today's menu, we are going to go ahead and talk about this weekend. Man, it's finally here. I'm not going to stunt. It snuck up on me, man. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., the Geezer Ball, the Geezer Bowl, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to it. Legends collide. It's happening this weekend on pay-per-view on Pfizer, I don't know, some ridiculous thing, one of these new apps or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and talk about that today on the show. We're also going to go ahead and give a little bit of a recap of every big fight that's coming up. The Zone has some fight cards. We'll talk about Danny Jacobs and Gabe Rosado. We're going to talk about also the UFC side. We have Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes is going out there against Derrick Lewis. Both of these guys are in title contention. What's actually going to go ahead and happen in that fight? So we'll go ahead and discuss that as well. Also on this fight card, we have huge fight announcements. The champion at flyweight, what's going on with the champions? Can either champion legitimately be beat? Tony Ferguson, who he's fighting on his comeback. Aldo's back. Is Khabib Nurmagomedov back? And so much more, man. So, like I said, everybody for joining us. Thank you for joining us on today's show. This is episode 246 of the Fight Podcast, man. And let's go ahead. Yo, I have to stop saying, man. My lady, the first lady of the Fight Podcast, Tosh, is always telling me after these shows, she's like, Serge, bro, you have to stop saying man so much. It's one of those things, one of my nervous tics, I guess. A lot of people say, or whatever. I definitely say, man, a whole lot. Why do I do it? I have no idea. But at least I said it out loud for you guys. I'm trying to be conscious of the shit. So it is what it is, man. But look, let's go ahead and jump on into the episode this weekend. And again, everybody who's watching live on IG. So check this out. For those watching on IG, if you guys see me moving around, I'm posting stuff. I'm doing all kind of things going on. So we're working both sides. So bear with me. First time we're doing it this way, but I'm really excited to do it, man. But let's go ahead and talk about it, man. This weekend we have the matchup that a lot of us, even though it's two men in their 50s, we're both really all still looking forward to it, man. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., what are the fight expectations? So when we look at this fight, there's a whole lot of stipulations. They said this is supposed to be an exhibition fight. They said with this exhibition fight, yo, my man, Mystic Black, what it do? Joining the show, man. I have to say is this. When you actually look at what's going to happen, we're thinking about this fight. Expectation-wise, you know what I'm saying? Expectation. What are our expectations for this fight? Looking at it this weekend, you look at the odds, right? Obviously, it's $50 pay-per-view. I don't know who's going to pay $50 to see these two old dudes go at it. But look, man, more power to you. It's literally the betting lines have been relatively. Mike Tyson is favored minus 300 to minus 350 to Roy Jones being a plus 200 to a plus like 140 or so. So when we're looking at this, man, and again, we're looking at expectations. What do I expect? This is supposed to be an exhibition fight. The California State Athletic Commission has said, like, look, Andy Foster and those guys are like, look, man, no one's going to get knocked out. This is not one of these things. No one is getting touched in this one. That is what the commission says. The commission said the moment that this actually happens, anybody gets hurt, they're stopping the fight. Any blood, they said they're stopping the fight. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Rafael Cordeiro from the legendary Chutu Box in Brazil used to train the savages like Vanderlei Silva and Mauricio Shogun Rua when they were in their prime in Pride. He's training Mike Tyson right now. He has recently come out and said, man, we do not spar full on for an exhibition. We don't spar hard to not try to put these dudes down. Roy Jones Jr. said the exact same thing. Look, man, I don't care what Nevada says. They are going to try to knock each other's faces off. You cannot tell me that Mike Tyson is going to sit back if he sees Roy Jones Jr. hurt. You cannot expect for me to believe that he's all of a sudden going to run away. The shit is not going to happen, okay? But this is something that I will say. Y'all must have forgot. Because if you go out here and you look at all of the pundits, you look at the comments on Twitter and IG and everything, and I've been paying attention. I don't know if you guys have. I've absolutely been paying attention. And y'all must have forgot. I keep seeing all this stuff that, like Roy Jones is some scrubs, that he doesn't have an opportunity. Well, I'm going to tell you guys this. Mike Tyson has not competed in a legitimate matchup in 15 years. Over the last 10 years, remember, Roy Jones Jr.'s last fight was in 2018. So thinking about this, being the May that his fight was in 2018, this man has gone 12-1 in his last 13 fights. 12-1 in his last 13 fights, right? He is somebody who is conditioned, and all those fights were at minimum 10 rounds. So he's conditioned to go the distance. So what do I expect out of this matchup? I expect Mike Tyson to come out hard. I expect Mike Tyson to come out early and often. I expect Mike Tyson to slow down after the second round. I do not know how Mike Tyson's body is going to acclimate to being hit in a competition of that manner. We do not know how Mike Tyson is going to react to getting hit back by somebody who's actually trying to knock his face off. We don't know. We don't see this. I can easily jump on board and say Mike Tyson's going to whoop his ass. It's not going to be a question. It's whatever. I don't see that happening. I look at this matchup, and I'm telling you now, I see Roy Jones Jr. winning this fight. I see Roy Jones Jr. And now, granted, Nevada State Athletic, or should I say California State Athletic Commission, and everybody said that this fight, there is no winner and loser, right? They're not going to name one, whatever. We all know who's going to win. And at the end of the day, I do believe it is going to be Roy Jones Jr. But I will say this, we'll have another episode coming up very soon for you guys right here on the Fight Podcast, and it's going to be with the guru, B-Cam, Brandon Camille, man. And what we're going to go ahead and do with that one is that we'll go ahead and get a little bit more deep dive into that matchup, okay? All right, moving right along. This weekend, we're going to go ahead and stick with this weekend before I do some recaps and some other things for you guys, as well as all the fight news, because I'm not going to lie, man, it's really been a pretty active week. There's a lot of fight announcements. Obviously, this fight's coming up, and it's usually historically a week that's not very active, right? Thanksgiving week is one of the weeks that UFC is usually not, competing. There's no usual big fights this weekend and it's usually just straight fucking football. We don't have that now, man. There's a legitimate fights, man. There's a lot of fights coming up. 11/11 for you guys watching, you know what I'm saying? That's the time we're recording right now here in Los Angeles, California. For those who are watching, man, right here live on the show, man, thank you guys so much for watching to the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Vicente. Remember, listen everywhere podcasting is available. Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. We're thefightpodcast.com. Check us out there. Listen, like, subscribe, and share on all platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on IG as well, man. Share this on you for you guys. Really appreciate it. Love you guys. All right, moving right along. Let's go ahead and talk about also this weekend. What do we have this weekend, man? The UFC has, and like I was saying, it is usually historically a quiet week for all combat sports, but man, we have, obviously the UFC Fight Night, which I'm not going to stunt. The card itself, it's not the greatest. There's some people that we want to talk about, and I'll break those fights down for you guys right now. But at the end of the day, when you really sit back and look at it, I mean, those fight cards aren't that great. But I will say this. You have Daniel Jacobs, New York's very own, going out there and fighting against Philly's very own Gabriel Rosado. That's going to be an amazing fight with a lot of pretty much speculation what's going to end up happening in the future with that division. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that one at middleweight. But again, man, we have the Tyson fight and we have this UFC card. So this UFC card, man, we have two heavyweight monsters. Chi-Town's very own friend of the show. We got Curtis Blaydes, man, and he is going out there against Derrick the Black Beast Lewis, man. I really like this fight, and I'm going to say this. I like this fight for a couple different reasons, and the reason that I like it is because of this. Two of the best guys, obviously, in the world. You got the number 2 guy versus the number 4 guy. Curtis Blaydes is number 2. My man's the Black Beast is number 4. Derrick Lewis has shown me a lot of improvements over his last few fights with his wrestling. Since his fight with Daniel Cormier, you can absolutely tell that he took his wrestling and his conditioning seriously. He looks in incredible shape. His last fight, he looked amazing, and he's continued picking it up ever since then. I love this fight, man. Curtis Blaydes, I will be honest with you, he is the best guy in this division and not named Francis Ngannou. Okay, and Stipe Miocic. That is his only kryptonite. He has 2 losses in his career, and his only 2 losses are against Francis Ngannou. So it really brings to question this. What really happens if we sit back and, what happens for each guy? So let's go ahead and break that down. What happens if Curtis Blaydes wins this fight? I think he has a great opportunity to. And obviously, like I said, he has pretty much cleaned that division out completely. If he wins this fight, he's beaten Derrick Lewis. He's beaten Alistair Overeem. He's beaten literally every major player in that weight class, not named Francis Ngannou. So what's going to happen is this. Francis Ngannou seems as if he's going to fight for the title next against Stipe Miocic. Here's the problem with that, right? And I'll say this. This is the only problem with that. Dude, what's going to happen with John Jones? We don't know. John Jones left his weight class so that he can go ahead and move up. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blaydes really need to be worried about what happens with John Jones, because here's the thing. If John Jones moves up, everything that they want is ass. They're going to go ahead and get pushed out of the way. It is what it is, okay? We can't sit back and actually hope for anything else, because that's what's legitimately going to go ahead and happen, okay? All right. But Curtis Blaydes, because the guy who is in front of him is one, he's gonna kind of be that guy in purgatory, unfortunately. If he wins this fight, you kind of are who we thought you were. That's what they're going to eventually end up saying for him. Dude, it is who it is. You know, you're not somebody who we really care about. Hey, and let's not forget that the UFC and Dana White isn't very happy with Curtis Blaydes. One, they don't believe he's that entertaining. Two, they don't like the way that he actually speaks out against the UFC. So the fact of the matter is this: they're not going to give him any favors. They're not. He's not going to get anything he wants out of it. So do I think he's going to get a title shot out of the deal? No. Now, what happens if Derrick Lewis wins? If Derrick Lewis wins, I do believe they'll give him a little bit more credence. They're fans of Derrick Lewis. They enjoy Derrick Lewis. They like what he brings to the table. They like that he knocks everybody out, and they love his personality. He plays ball with the organization. So when we really think about it, Derrick Lewis, honestly, will jump Curtis Blaydes. He'll end up being the number one guy, and he'll be back in line for a title shot. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. Is that going to happen? I don't think so. Derrick Lewis only has one way to win. He does. He's going to put these paws on you. He's going to put them on you, and he's going to put you to sleep. He's extremely athletic, and he's huge. He has great takedown defense, and he has even better takedown get-upness. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep that big-ass dude down. He's going to end up getting up. So that's one of the beautiful things that he actually has in this weight class. So that's one of the things I love. Now, even with all that being said, dude, I still see Chicago's very own, man, Curtis Blaydes. I see him taking him down, controlling that fight, because not only does he have the wrestling caliber and, you know, what he brings to the table in terms of his wrestling, dog, he also puts people to sleep. Don't forget what he did to Overeem. Overeem, multiple-time world champion in kickboxing. Multiple-time, MMA world champion in multiple organizations. Actually, every organization except for the UFC. Yo, he knocked him out with these paws. So I think Curtis Blaydes just has way more avenues to win. I mean, I really do. I think that's really all it is, man. He has that many avenues to win, and that's why I say Curtis Blaydes is going to go ahead and take that fight. Also, really quick on that fight, before I break the rest of that fight, everybody watching live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, as well as Instagram, man, thank you guys so much for joining us and supporting the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. This is episode 246. If you're watching live, tell your friends, tell everybody we're breaking all the big fights down. Share this and let everybody know. All right. Getting back into the action. Actually, that is morning coffee and fight news. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and take a little. Man, I was hurt a couple days ago, man. Fucking ran out of coffee, and since COVID and shit's been going on, my lady and I started ordering groceries. I'm not gonna stunt. That's like the best flex for me. I ain't never ordered groceries. It is the most convenient shit ever. I love it. I don't think I'm ever going back to a grocery store. But with all the crazy COVID shit, man, we started ordering groceries and everything. And this is the thing that messed me up, man. You put on the list. You tell them what you want. You're like, I want this. And I put coffee on. I gotta have my coffee in the AM. Put coffee on the list. Man, these cats, they said they didn't have the brand of coffee that I wanted. And next thing you know, they turn around, they didn't even bring me no fucking coffee. Dog, it's coffee. You know what it is, man. Just put another bag in there, bro. It's a dark roast. Put another dark roast in. Let's keep it rocking. You know what I'm saying? But, check it out. Let's go ahead and move right along the rest of this card. Co-main event on this card, we have the return of Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, I'm a fan of Anthony Smith. I love Anthony Smith. He is one of those guys that has taken himself from journeyman to a legitimate contender. And unfortunately, it seems like my man might be going back to journeyman. He's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights. He's still ranked number 6 at 205. He is the favorite minus 140, but it is still very, very close. It's pretty much a pick'em fight with Devin Clark, who was a plus 120 on this. I'll be honest with you, man. This is a fight that on paper, Anthony Smith should win. But Devin Clark is gritty as fuck. Devin Clark's one of those guys that has a great chin and he has some solid wrestling. I'll be honest with you. This is one of those fights that if you are not paying attention and if he doesn't come on his shit, he's going to go ahead and take another L. And if he takes another L, I hate to say it, I think my man's is going to end up getting cut from UFC if he doesn't end up getting a win on this fight. So that's on this fight card. Also, we also have the other one I would really look out for on this one, and I'm a huge fan of, is this kid, man, Miguel Baeza. Miguel Baeza is from MMA Masters out there in South Florida. Dude is an absolute killer at 170. You guys need to check him out. That is definitely a fight that you guys should check out on this fight card this weekend. Also, for all you sleazebags out there, Rachel Ostovich is also back on this fight card. So all in all, is the fight card entertaining? It has a couple matchups. I'm not going to say it doesn't have a couple matchups. But Henry Boy 11, what is going on? Thanks for joining us on the Fight Podcast, man, on IG. I appreciate you, man. And everyone who liked the videos on Facebook, thank you so much for liking the videos as well. All right. Let's go ahead and jump on into some fight news. Actually, before we get into some upcoming fights and some fight news, can anybody stop? Let's talk about this past weekend. This past weekend, man, we had two flyweight champions go out there and just do absolute work. Two, honestly, it seems like going to be the most dominant champions in the sport, 125 men and women for the UFC. You had Figueroa against Alex Perez, who was an absolute beast, and obviously we have Valentina Shevchenko. My first question I want to start off is this: can anybody stop Figueroa, man? And I'll be very honest with you, right now, at this present moment in time, the only person that I really believe is going to be able to stop him is Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson. He is the most physical guy that I've ever seen fighting at 125 pounds. Not only is he the most physical guy that I've seen competing at 125, man, he has incredible accuracy, and he is a killer on the ground. He is extremely well-rounded. He is a finisher. He's going out there to finish you, and that is something that we have never truly seen at 125. A flyweight male that's going out there to finish his opponents, dog, you don't see that shit. And this is something that division has truly needed to get the popularity that it really deserves, man. I'm a huge fan of this kid. He is truly one of my favorites to watch in the sport. I love Joseph Benavidez. Like a lot of people who've been around the sport and involved in the sport for so long, I am a huge Joseph Benavidez fan. He whooped Joseph Benavidez's ass like he was an absolute scrub. And I could not believe that shit when I saw it. It was an incredible fight, man. And this dude goes out here and destroyed Perez, it was a black belt on the ground. The dude is extremely well coached. We talked about it in episode 244 of the Greatest Combat Sports and Coach Show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. And he goes out there and gets a rear naked choke. Dog, he got a rear naked choke in 1 minute and 57 seconds of the very first round. He treated him like he was just a scrub. Again, something that we have to pay attention to, man. This dude is an absolute beast, and something that the UFC did right after that shows how much of a master, a beast he, as well as somebody else in that weight class, are. Let's also talk about Valentina Shevchenko. She is somebody, you guys already know how I feel about Valentina. I think she's in the GOAT discussion for female MMA. She's that good. Go back and watch her second fight against Amanda Nunes and tell me with a straight face that you don't actually believe that she won that fight. Do that. Go back, tell me you don't believe she won that fight, because I'll be honest with you, anybody who's gone back and watched that fight, damn near guaranteed Valentina won that fight. That is the trilogy that I will hopefully see, but at this present moment in time, there's no woman on earth at 125 pounds that is going to go ahead and beat Valentina Shevchenko. Shit's just not going to happen. All right. Let's go ahead and move right along. Also on that card, we have Mike Perry, Tim Means. Mike Perry looked like shit. He put on a gritty performance, missed weight by almost 6 pounds. Tim Means goes out there, peppered him up. Great win by him. Where does he go? Nowhere really. Stays kind of the same journeyman phase. Mike Perry, one more, I think he's going to be done. I'll just be very honest with you. He seems like he has some issues, aside from probably being racist. I mean, he seems like he's disturbed. He has a baby on the way. I wish him and his family the best. I hope he gets the help that he actually deserves. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about these upcoming fights, because the UFC has just announced some incredible fights. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with, actually, let's start off with this one. Peter Yan, really quick, is out of UFC 256 versus Aljamain Sterling. This one sucked. This one sucked for me. This one really sucked. I really wanted this fight for Aljo. This was supposed to headline the pay-per-view at the end of the year, the December 19th card, or I'm sorry, the December 12th card. And it's one of those things that when it happened, you just feel bad for the man. You know what I'm saying? You just feel bad for him in terms of Aljo. I hope whatever happens to Peter Yan, I hope he's okay. But I hope he ends up getting his opportunity back. He was recently on, I believe, with Ariel Helwani this week. And he ended up saying how, he feels like Tony Ferguson waiting for his title shot against Khabib. It's one of those things, man. You hope he gets his opportunity because, MMA, man, it's one of those sports, all combat sports, our opportunities aren't that our windows are not very open long. They're not open very long, and we have an opportunity, hopefully, that Aljo early Q1 ends up getting his title shot, man, because I'm telling you right now, 135 pounds is one of the best fucking weight classes in all of combat sports. Yo, go and look at UFC's 135-pound division. From fucking 1 to 10, any of those guys on any given day can win the championship. It is that competitive. It is that good. And I want to see Aljamain Sterling, Long Island's very own, go out there and actually get that title because I think he has all the opportunity to dominate that weight class for a long period of time if indeed he actually goes ahead and does that, man. Yo, my brother, Aubrey Murray, man, joining the show. What it do, brother? Thank you for joining the greatest combat sports and culture on the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. Also, everybody also watching live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Thank you guys for watching the show, man. Always appreciate you guys. Like I said, like, share, tell everybody where we are. We are available everywhere. Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, obviously, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, as well as IG, man. So thank you everybody for joining us on today's show. All right. Also, I want to talk about UFC 256 for this one also. And the reason I talked about the fight getting off of from Aljamain Sterling is because the fight that was replacing it was Figueiredo's coming right fucking back. After he went ahead and headlined the pay-per-view this past weekend, he is coming back against Brandon Moreno and actually headlining this fight card. It is the first time in the modern era of MMA that a champion goes out there and legitimately fights and headlines 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. He is proving that he's going to be a star. He has star-making potential. He can knock you out with either hand. He can finish you on the ground. And now he is headlining one of the bigger pay-per-views of the year. Always the end of the year show. They hype that up. I can't wait for it. But here's the thing. Brandon Moreno's a bad motherfucker. He's legitimately one of the best guys in the sport, man. I cannot wait to see this fight. I think it's going to be a highly contested matchup that I still believe, like I just said, Figueiredo's still going to go ahead and get that young dub. All right. Also, another fight announcement I want to talk about is this. This was supposed to be, this is one that kind of came out of it, and I am so excited about it. Tony Ferguson, Charles do Bronx Oliveira is the co-main event for that fight card. Bro, I fucking love this fight, okay? And I say this for a couple different reasons. For a lot of people look at that and say, dog, Charles Oliveira, you talking about the same dude that got knocked out by fucking Cub Swanson way back in the day, back in Chicago, way back, Serg, weren't you over there sitting in the nosebleed seats? Yes, I fucking was. I was there, I was chilling, and he did get his ass whooped by Cub Swanson at 145 pounds. But that was a long time ago. And not only was that a long time ago, look, man, he is on a 7-fight win streak in the deepest, hardest division in all of combat sports, the UFC's 155-pound lightweight division. I am telling you right now, this dude, I said it before, this was my hot take a couple weeks ago, and I'm standing on it. Charles do Bronx Oliveira will end up being a champion at the UFC's lightweight division by the end of 2021. It's my opinion, in my opinion alone. I'm going to stand on that one. Just by the end of 2021, let's go ahead and revisit. All right? I'm putting on the Swami hat right now, and I'm calling that one right now. So what does that mean? That means to me that the man who is on a 7-fight win streak, the man who has the most submissions in UFC history with 13, who is still not even 30 years old yet, in Charles do Bronx Oliveira is going to go ahead and beat the aging superstar in Tony Ferguson. Look, man, Tony Ferguson is coming off of the most devastating loss in his career. This man had a 12-fight winning streak that spanned over 7 fucking years. 12-fight winning streak, 7 years. Went out there and beat the best of the best, the who's who of MMA. Literally, Rafael dos Anjos, Anthony Pettis. Come on, man. Kevin Lee. This is just to name a few. Lando Venata. These are some guys just to name a motherfucking few. He went out there against Justin Gaethje and got absolutely dominated. Was it Justin Gaethje? Was it Father Time? Was it a little bit of both? And think about it. He took a massive beating in that fight. That was only about, 6 months ago? I'm telling you, this is going to be an all-action fight. This is going to be a fight that's extremely, 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 extremely entertaining. And we're doing it really quick. Oh, you are cool. Who are you? Okay, look, I was about to start talking to somebody who was on our comments on Facebook Live. And look, the thing, anybody have any questions who is watching live, please feel free in the comments. You put the comments down there. I will answer your comments live on screen. If you guys are watching me on IG or you guys are watching me on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, let me know. But man, I'm about to go ahead and answer some questions. I realized it was a bot. Shit, I ain't going for that. But if you are not a bot, whoever you are, salute to you, my friend. But like I said, going back to this, man, I say this, man, I think this is going to be an incredible fight either way. I cannot wait to watch this fight. I think it's going to be an all-action fight, and I think this is going to be the fight that a lot of people, Charles Oliveira, is going to prove a lot of us and put a lot of people on notice, because it is a crossroads fight. It's going to be one of those things of this. Are you who we thought you were? Or do we look at Tony Ferguson and say, is Tony Ferguson, is he done, or was that just an aberration, him getting torched by Justin Gaethje? We'll see a lot on that fight card. All right, moving right along before we get out of here. And this is something that I think a lot of people did not expect, okay? Anderson the Spider Silva, arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time. As we know, he retired a couple weeks ago, but he was officially released by the UFC with a record of 34-11. Yes, he had one more fight on his UFC record or on his UFC contract, but he ended up getting released. The UFC, look, they're like, yo, you're like 45 years old. We're not trying to continue promoting brain damage, so we're giving you your walking papers. Is Anderson Silva somebody who can still compete? Probably. But at the end of the day, man, he's lost, 5 out of his last 6 fights. We're looking at one of the greatest guys of all time, going out like that. Yes, he still wants to compete. Can he go to Bellator? We get a couple of those, sideshow type of fights, put him in there with some gas station attendant or some shit. Yeah, he'll whoop that dude's ass. You put him in there with an Uber driver, he'll fuck him up, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch. And I think that's what we should be doing with them. Or if we're not putting him in there with some kind of Uber driver, put his ass in there with some other old ass, some veteran dude. Put him back in there with Chael Sonnen or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Do those type of fights. Bellator will go ahead and do those things. But that's it, man. I mean, he's 45 years old. I know personally I wouldn't want to see that. And last but certainly not least, I believe, I say, what else? Is Khabib back? Khabib went out there, put up a couple tweets. Dana White, I see you soon. I'll be honest with you, fam. No, I don't see him coming back. I still think he's going to stick with his laurels. He's one of those guys, and we have to sit there. I'm taking Khabib at his word more than anything else. I don't believe that he is going to go ahead and do that, man. But yeah, man. And for we got my brother Mike. Yeah, my brother. Yeah, Mike and Roy is this weekend. I'm telling you, this is going to be a fight. And I talked about it a little earlier in the show. I'll say what I think real quick about that one, and I'll say it again. I got Roy Jones Jr., man. I really do. The reason I think Roy Jones is going to do it, we have to remember this. My quick recap of the show for you guys. I think Roy Jones is going to win because Roy Jones is 12-1 out of his last 13 fights spanning the last decade. Remember that. He also was one of those guys that, his last fight was in 2018. So think about it. From 2008 to 2018, from 2008 to 2018, Roy Jones Jr. went 12-1 in that 10-year span. Mike Tyson has not competed in a actual matchup until he hasn't competed in 15 years. So you mean to tell me a guy who's accustomed to going out there and rocking at, still fighting. He might not be fighting the best guys in the world, but he's still competing. He competed a year and a half ago. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody who's going to be, he's conditioned. He's used to going 10 rounds. Mike Tyson is not conditioned to be going 10 rounds. Not only is Mike Tyson not conditioned to going 10 rounds, he doesn't know how his body's going to react actually getting hit in a fight versus somebody who's actually getting hit. This is another thing that I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to. Mike Tyson is lower than he has ever been. Mike Tyson is 215 pounds currently right now. You know who else is walking around 215 pounds? Roy Jones Jr. So he does not have a size advantage that people are assuming that he does. Roy Jones has a longer reach advantage. Roy Jones has more skills in terms of boxing acumen. He's going to stay on the outside. He's going to be able to, manipulate that one. And that's at the end of the day, that's why I think Roy Jones will probably end up winning that fight unless Mike Tyson catches him early with a big shot. But aside from that, that shit ain't going to happen. I honestly see Roy Jones probably cruising with this one. Now, one thing I didn't talk about earlier in the show that I do want to mention is this. People are asking about what is it going to do in terms of pay-per-view buys? What's it going to be in terms of pay-per-view buys? And I'll look at this. A lot of people are saying that this shit's going to be like, oh, man, is this fight going to be, it's going to go over 1 million buys. It's only $50, 1 million buys, whatever. Fam, this is not going to go over $1 million. It's not. Or should I say 1 million buys? It's not. And the reason it's not going to go over 1 million buys is because think about this. You have a YouTuber as a co-main event. YouTuber versus Nate Robinson as your co-main event. They're trying to sell that to me. Okay? That's your co-main event. Yes, Badu Jack is on that card, but you have a YouTuber in that. I say this card is probably going to hit about 500,000, which isn't something that I think is bad. I think, 500,000 is respectable. So I think it'll probably end up being somewhere better than we think, but not as good as we hope type of things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think it's one of those. So I'm not really looking at this fight like it's going to be something that's like, everyone's going to break records and shit. They're 54 and 51. Who's going to sit here and pay to watch two wash niggas go out there and fight, especially when nobody's really promoted it? And these mugs are going out here saying that, the organizations, everybody who's promoting it is like, remember, exhibition, they're not trying to knock each other out. It's one of the, like, dog, if you're promoting it like that, you're not, this is arguably one of the, Kevin Iole of the Yahoo Sports, one of the best writers in the game, went out there and actually tweeted yesterday, and I had to agree. He was like, out of his however many years, he started covering fights in 1981. He's like, since when I was covering fights in 81, he's like, this is the worst promoted fucking fight that I've ever seen in my life. And it is, man. They really haven't really promoted this shit that much. And at the end of the day, if this isn't something that's warranted. Now, am I going to watch it? Yes. I'm a degenerate, man. I'm definitely going to watch that shit. I fucking love this shit. So I'm definitely going to watch this train wreck of a fight. But at the end of the day, am I going to pay for it? I don't know. Fuck. All right, man. Look, I think that's honestly about all the time we have today in morning coffee and fight news. As always, man, thank you guys so much for joining us, man. Remember, listen everywhere podcasting is available. Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Listen, like, subscribe, share. I'm your host, The Underground. You know what? Yo, I'm saying this right now, and I'm going to stop this real quick. I used to call myself the Underground King for a while, right? And I've been saying that for a while, and it was one of those things. I got it from like Eddie Alvarez, and I thought it was like, whatever. It was dope. I'm going to keep it a bean. Bro, I am not no damn underground nothing. We're coming for the spot. So it is what it is. Greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe. The Fight Podcast. This is your boy, Sergio Vicente. Check us out everywhere podcasting is available. Check us out on Facebook Live, YouTube. Catch us on Twitch. Also, for the first time, catch us on IG. We're doing our solo episodes on IG as well. We love you guys there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on today's show. I'm your host, Sergio Vicente. Check me out at Sergio Vicente and check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Love you guys. This is Sergio Vicente of The Fight Podcast. I'll see you guys next time right here on The Fight Podcast. Deuces. Now, let me try to turn both of these off at the same time.